Now
I can.
Hello, everybody. Thank you, Ingrid, again for your generosity and being here today to help us practice.
Yes, we're gonna have fun.
And if you don't mind sending me like the presentation, if you like, by email, if you want to share, it's up to you.
You will have the recording, right?
Yeah. Okay, then yeah, that's fine.
Yeah, let's do that. Okay. All right. So who we have here? We have Jana and Sarah.
Yasmin, Sarah, Hala, Gina.
How are you
And
guys?
I don't know who's the last one.
It's Amy. I don't know why it says friend.
I changed your name by mistake to Ingrid because I didn't know if it's you or her, and then I didn't know how it was. The name was owner.
Yeah, I was in another meeting here. How are you doing, everybody? How was your week? More work?
Yeah.
Okay, everybody will be muted for now if you're gonna speak, and then when we discuss, we'll unmute everyone.
Just remember, we're going to be doing some exercises in groups, and I want you to really participate today. So let's just go over a couple of things that I would like to. So today I had the pleasure to present COVID-19 is more consecutive, and note-taking comes to the rescue, okay? So we're going to be talking about consecutive mode and how to take notes. So first of all, you know that.
Can I use this question?
Can you hear me? Okay, so it has the chat and has the groups, and I want you to have pen and paper ready. And also, if you have a recording device, that will be very helpful because we're going to be recording certain exercises. And you can use your phone, anything you can have to record yourself, okay? It's gonna be important. And then I want everybody to feel free to participate. There is a saying in Las Vegas. You remember what is that saying? Everything that happens in Vegas, stay in Vegas, right?
Yes.
So we know each other, and sometimes people is afraid to participate because they are thinking, oh, she's gonna tell on me, or she's gonna think about this about me and stuff like that. I don't want anybody to feel like that. I want to have fun and practice, and so we can grow together. And the other thing that I really would like to ask you guys is to be present. I know with technology, we have the phones, we have the computer, we have the family, we have a lot of stuff. But let's try to be present and take advantage of what I would like to share with you. I don't know everything, but the little that I know, I'm willing to share with you. So my goals today for this presentation is to review the theory of process in the consecutive interpreting. We are going to review also how to take notes and some techniques. And we're gonna, I'm gonna give you some tips to make it easier. And then we're gonna practice. Who is ready to practice? Thumbs up? All right, let's do this. Okay, so remember, practice makes us better. And sometimes we don't have the time, or we don't know what to practice or where to go to practice. And I just wanted to show you this. In Utah, we've been having a lot of coronavirus cases. I don't know where you are at, how is the definition or the amount of cases, but I wanted to show you how many cases of people that are Spanish speaking or native Hawaiians or other races that they are needing interpreters. And besides that, we have the big volume of all our other patients, right? So we are interpreting more and more using video. We don't have the body cues that we used to have, and they go on and on and on because they forget that we are not machines. And do you agree with me? Right? They go on and on and on and on. I'm like, oh, please, even though I'm taking notes, you're going too fast for me, please slow down, right? But taking notes has been a tool that has been very helpful. Okay, so what do you think about when some people, they said that interpreters are born, that somebody is already born with these skills, and some others, there is another group that they said Nope. The interpreter is somebody that is going to build the skills, somebody that is going to learn, that can be bilingual, but she or he is going to build the skills to do a better job as an interpreter and to provide what is called the bridge of communication, right? So who agrees? What are your thoughts about that? What do you think? Tell me.
For me, I think you have to have the skills, but you have to practice. I don't think you are born. You might be born somebody that is easier for him to do multitasking, but the skills you have to, I think, train and build it.
Right, we can be bilinguals, you know, since we are little, but the modes, we have to practice them and we have to learn the techniques. I agree with that. Well, it doesn't matter if they are saying born or build your skills. What is important is that the interpreter, when we are interpreting is something that is moving. It's not something that is passive. It's something that is very active. It's like riding a bike or dancing, right? Here and there, everybody's moving. The words are moving, the dynamic is moving in any field, medical or legal or any other field, you know? And so the interpreter needs to build those skills. And taking notes is one of them. And we use that with consecutive mode. And I think you already mentioned once that you already had a class about consecutive mode. But let's just review a couple of things before we get into note-taking and some practices, okay? So in 1956, the first note-taking model and manual was published, and the creator was Roseanne. So if you want to write down Roseanne note-taking in consecutive interpreting, it's a good resource. You can learn a lot from that manual, okay? So take notes if you want about that one. It's Roseanne note-taking in consecutive interpreting. But there is another father of note-taking, and his name is Andrew Gills. And he also has a lot of manuals and a lot of practice that you can go to. There are some that are free and some others that are not free, but it's a good resource too. According to Agustin de la Mora, he's an interpreter in Florida, and also he's a trainer for many of the workshops in the courts. He said that consecutive is the most reliable form of interpretation. And it is a method that improves your aim. And when we are interpreting in the consecutive mode, we need two basic skills. One, to attend, listening, and understanding. Because if we don't understand or we cannot hear, we cannot interpret. But let me be clear. Listening and hearing is not the same. Do you agree? Sometimes I'm listening and sometimes I'm just hearing my kids.
You broke up a little bit. Can you repeat last sentence, please?
Sure. Sometimes we are listening, really paying attention, and sometimes I'm just hearing my kids. You know, when my kids, they want to talk and talk and talk, we hear them. Okay, all right, I'll get to you. I know what you want, that's it. But sometimes I'm really listening, paying attention. It's like, okay, wait a minute, what did you say? Right? And so we need that skill, listening skills. And the consecutive mode is going to help us with speakers that they go on and they think that we are machines, that we can repeat everything. And like the conference interpreters, you know, they are trained for taking notes for, I don't know, 15, 20 minutes, and they are able to repeat the whole thing back. But in court, medical, community, we don't have that much practice. We don't know much about taking notes. So it will be hard for us to do something that if we let somebody to go for 15, 20 minutes. So the consecutive mode has 3 phases. It's a process. One is listening actively. You have to be able to listen, to pay attention completely. Noises, distractions, linguistic levels, all of that can take us away from listening. And at the same time that you are hearing the message into your ear canal, is coming the comprehension that is going to your brain. And so you're comprehending the message. And you, at that moment, you take notes, and the notes are going to be symbols, abbreviations, anything that you're familiar with that can help you. And after that, you are going to reformulate the message into the target language. So one thing that is important when we are interpreting in the consecutive mode is to be ready with pen and paper. So let's talk a little bit about the notepad. Some people, they like these spirals on the top because it's easy to pass the pages. It's about seconds. If you have one that, let me show you one, maybe my agenda. So we have this one, by the time I pass this and I turn, I can lose a lot of seconds and that can distract me a lot. So they recommend this type. So we can just go right after. I don't know if I have one here. So we can just pass the pages and also have good pens and have extra pens. Other people, they think that it's good to have the notebook and to have a margin on the left and to have a middle line in the center. And every time that you're gonna take, all your notes are gonna be in a vertical style, not horizontal. And some other people, they like after the paragraph or the sentence that they were taking notes of, they cross a line, and that means that the next paragraph is coming, so they don't get confused. So I do both sometimes. It depends, you know, like when I'm in the medical field, I do the vertical ones, and I just cross the line from the horizontal line. And that means for me that I'm separating the different concepts that they are talking about. But I don't know why when I'm in legal, I do my middle line and I prepare my notepad the day before. I do it with red, and I put English in one side and Spanish on the other side. I don't know, it's something maybe that I have been practicing and it's stuck with me. All right, so when we are talking about the phases, listen actively. That is going to need a constant and conscious effort. When we are receiving that message here, listening, in English, let's say, it's called input. It's like the fundamentals of everything that we are going to transfer and go out here to the target language. And comprehension, we have to get rid of a lot of things. You know, there are a lot of words that we can get rid of when we're taking notes, and we have to listen carefully, and we are going to transmit the ideas. And sometimes, have you noticed that you are lost for a second because they said a word, a term, or something that you're not familiar with? And what happens after? Have you had that experience? A word that you don't know.
Yes.
And you are like, wait a minute, what did you say? Or what is that? Or how I'm gonna interpret that, right?
Yes.
And if we don't have a notepad, it stays in our brain. But if you have a notepad, you can write it down, make a circle. The circle means I'm going to look it up after I'm done here. But writing it down, you can clarify. If you're in the medical field, we have the blessing. I call it blessing because we can say, hey, you said this word NBC something. What do you mean with that? Can you clarify that? Or what is the meaning of this acronym? And they will be able to tell you, right? In legal, it's a little bit tricky because we cannot do that unless we have a lot of confidence with people. But I do that even in trials. You know, if I don't understand, Even in the legal, they said not to. But I want to clarify because I want to know exactly what is happening, right? But in our mind, if we keep thinking in those few seconds that we have, and we keep thinking about that word, we are not going to know what was the next that the speaker said. And that's when we are like, I'm sorry, can you repeat the whole thing? Right? But taking notes can help us a lot to stress our brain and to be able to clarify and to do other things. Also, we need in the comprehension phase, we analyze what the person is saying. We are going to decipher what they are saying. You start analyzing, oh, this person is talking about the colonoscopy. Maybe you are already familiar with what is going on in colonoscopy, right? And you are more familiar, and then you're like, there are a couple of things that are different, or somebody uses a different word or something, but you're very familiar with that. So it's easier for us. But even though sometimes we really need to take notes, like a name, date of birth, or phone numbers, or instructions that they are giving them, right? So we have to listen actively. And we are not going to write everything down because that will be too much. Notes are only to help us to deliver the message, okay? So a lot of people, they said that before you can start practicing note-taking and the consecutive mode, it's good to develop your memory and some listening skills. Has anybody done any of those listening or memory practices? Yeah, what have you done?
Yeah, you can unmute yourself, ladies.
Tell me, what have you done? Unmute yourselves and tell me a little bit.
Yeah, we do memory exercises with numbers, for example, with names, with just words without the context. Yeah, I think memory exercises are very important.
Mm-hmm. Right. You can shadow is one of the good exercises. You shadow in the same language. So you're listening in English and you repeat that in English, you know? You can practice when you're watching your favorite show or when you're listening to the radio in the car. Or you can, there are so many movies or videos now on YouTube, Yahoo, and everywhere. You can just go and practice. And they don't recommend you to practice more than 20 minutes in the beginning because your brain is gonna get really, really tired. All right.
And I have a very nice practice later for diabetes. Arabic English.
Oh, yeah? Good.
Yes, recorded, yeah.
Awesome, awesome. All right, so and listening skills, like I'm telling you, the phone, we are in the position, we don't have our phone with us, you know, turn it off because that can be distracting. If we are waiting a phone call or something, every noise that we hear is like, oh yeah, that person is calling me. So you have to develop some listening skills and we can talk more about that. But today we're gonna be talking more about note-taking. And the last phase is called reformulation. So that's when you read your notes, your short-term memory is gonna help you, and you do the bridging the gap of communication. That's when you transfer the message into the target language. Okay, are you ready for some exercises? You have pen and paper ready? Yes? All right, let's do this. All right, so what are those numbers that are the 1, 2, 3, 4? You see those colors? Those numbers are called what? Arabic numerals, right?
Yes.
Okay.
You're talking, okay, about the one that we're using now.
Yes, in Arabic, do you use them?
No.
No? All right. But in English, those are the numbers that we are very familiar with, right? Okay.
Yeah, those, yeah, the Arabic numbers are the one we're supposed to use, but we use for some reason the Indian numbers.
Oh, you had to teach them to me. So in Spanish, we use the Arabic numerals too, all right? But now, I'm gonna give you a number. And I want you to take those numbers down using other type of numbers that you're not familiar with. So I don't want you to use the Arabic numbers too. If you know how to write in Arabic, the numbers, don't use them either. No Arabic numerals and no the other Arabics that you know. So you're gonna use anything else to write those numbers. Like what? Well, you can use letters, or you can use the dots, or you can use the counting little lines there. Or an example, if I'm gonna tell you 1, you can write 1, or you can write 2, TWO, but no number 2, no number 1, all right? You got it? Any questions?
Got
Yeah,
it.
so we are not allowed to use the numbers. We're only allowed to use letters, tallies, Latin, anything like that.
Anything, Roman
Roman,
numbers, any others, okay? All right. But here you see on the red side where it says the circle cross, that means not Arabic numbers. That's my note taking for that little area right there. All right, so you ready? Pen and paper? Okay,
Yes.
let's do this. All right, so the number is 1-800-765-4500. Okay, time is up. Now, I want you to record the numbers that you wrote down. And then we're gonna read the number back and see how many you got. Now record yourself, the numbers that you took down. And you're gonna tell me if you got all of them, or a couple of them, or what? How was this?
And we have the numbers on the screen. That's cheating.
Aha, yeah, it's cheating, right? Oh, we're gonna move it.
Too late. Change the
Well,
numbers.
did you record the
I was-
numbers that you wrote down? Read your numbers into your voice, into your recording, the numbers that you wrote down. Now, listen to your recording and compare with the numbers that I gave you. How did you do? It was
I missed
easy.
number 4.
Number 4.
I was writing with letters.
Aha.
I wrote 8.
What else did you use? Anybody use another form of writing the number?
Yeah, the Roman numbers and the dots and the
Tallies, yeah.
tallies. Yes.
And how did you do,
Yes, like this.
Maha? Okay,
Yeah.
you got all of them?
Yeah.
Oh, good
But
job.
I didn't write 800. I wrote like 800. Is this okay? I
Yeah.
didn't.
That's fine, if you got it. What about, who else is here?
Yasmin.
Jasmine.
Yeah, I got stuck at the 800. I was writing Roman numbers, and I was like, how do you write 800 in Roman numbers?
Were you able to continue writing the other
And
numbers?
it took me a while. That's why I stopped, I think, at 6 or 5. Yeah.
All right.
I didn't get 4500. Yeah.
Okay. So it was not that easy, right? All right. Well, let's keep practicing. I'm going to give you another number. Are you ready for the second round?
Yeah,
All right.
don't give it to them.
I won't. So now I want you to use the Arabic numerals, or any way that you know how to write numbers. You can use the other numerals that you use, okay? Ready? And I'm gonna go a little faster this time. Everybody ready? All right. 00150277598310. Now, again, I want you to record the numbers that you got, and then we're gonna compare again.
Yeah, let them write it down on the chat so we compare.
I'm gonna, yeah, we're gonna compare all together. Tell me
I
when you
make
get
I
done.
mixed between Arabic and English. Is this okay?
And how many you got?
All of them.
Awesome. Anybody
Yeah.
else got all of them?
Yeah, wait until we make sure we compare. So you have to put it
Okay.
put it on the screen to make sure we have all of them.
Compare. Yeah, you're right. But I wanted you to record, right? Now listen to your recording and compare the numbers. 0, 0, 1, 5, 0, 2, 7, 7, 5, 9, 8, 3, 1, 0.
I got them all.
You got them all?
I got them all as well, but I wrote the 0 in English and number 5 in Arabic. So now I'm mixed up. I don't know whether it's a 0 or a 5 because it's the same. It's a circle.
Yeah, the Indian numbers and the English number, the 0 and
Yes.
the like, yeah,
Yeah, the 0 and the 5 are a circle.
similar. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, so you need to put your brain to say, hey, how I'm gonna make the difference, okay?
Yeah.
So think about that. Good job, awesome. So how was this time? Easier or harder?
Easier.
Easier. You know why it was
Easier.
easier?
Because we practiced this for a long time. Those
Because
numbers
we are
are,
familiar.
yeah.
Yes, we are
Yeah.
familiar, we know them, and it's so easy for our brain. The brain doesn't have to make an extra effort, right? Like the other ones, we were making an extra effort. No, it's the Arabic numerals, but something else. And so that happens sometimes when we are note taking in different situations, okay? So when we talk about note taking for interpreters, a lot of people, they take notes for different things when you go to a seminar and stuff like that. But for interpreters, it is important because it's gonna help us to be accurate. We don't remember all the numbers when they are giving a social security number, a phone number, date of birth, and stuff like that. Why? Because every number, every numeral is a different unit of meaning. So our brain cannot really put everything together, all right? And especially we are getting tired and stuff like that, it doesn't work because every numeral is a unit of meaning. The other thing is that note taking is gonna help us to be relaxed. You know, if we know how to take notes, it's gonna help us to relax and our brain is gonna work a little less harder than if we try to memorize everything, even though we're using our short-term memory, but we have to remember, right, what this person is saying to pass it to the target language. And note-taking also helps to elevate your comprehension of what this person is saying and make justice, because we have in our hands the power to make justice to the speaker, the original, the source language speaker, of what he's saying, right? If not, it's gonna happen like what happened in Hiroshima. You remember? The interpreter, one word was the cause of this big word and stuff like that. Because
Yeah, he missed the word and it caused the war.
exactly, it was very important for him. Maybe he could have write down and then look at his notes. Maybe it could have been easier when he was reading the notes to put it in context, right? So, and also the smooth of the rendition. We have to be accurate. We have to have the tone of voice, the intention of the speaker. Sometimes things they don't translate or interpret the same way. You know, we have to find the idioms to do our job. Okay, so let's practice a little bit more of note taking. And what do you think is this, like the glasses? For me, is reading, looking, watching, okay? So we have to analyze the written material and then use our short-term memory. Why? Because it's gonna help us to have a guide and support our reading of the notes. And when note-taking is a complex system and is created by symbols and abbreviations. So I want you know that you have a lot of experience, and we're gonna put you in groups right now. If you can help me with that, Sana, please. I would like you to talk. Maybe how many do we
have total of 11, and then probably you are one, so there is 10. There will be 5 each, probably, if
So
you
we
like.
can do 4 groups. 4 of no.
How many in each group you need?
We can do two per group.
Okay, 2 per group. You wanna choose your partners, lady?
You
Can
choose.
I-
You tell us.
Can
wanna-
I, like,
Yes.
I'm, you know, because this is the first time I'm going to do this. I'm going to be, you know, it's going to be hard for me. So I'm just, you know, watching.
That's
I
fine.
didn't-
Don't
yeah.
worry. That's
Yeah.
where we all gonna need more practice. But what we are going to do in groups right now is I want you to share.
Can I be
Okay,
with Yasmin,
if you
please?
don't, excuse me?
Can I be with Yasmin?
Yeah, this is what I was gonna suggest. You two are conference interpreters, so you're good together probably. And then we have Jinan and Hala. What do you think? Sarah and Ala. And then we have Kifah by herself. She can be with me if she likes.
Okay, sure.
Awesome. So
But
what
how
I
can you
want
do
you
the
to
groups?
do,
Is that
have the
over the
group?
phone or?
No,
because-
if you go into the features of Zoom, you can do groups. I don't know if I can do it.
I don't
here.
think you can do it on this one because this is not the advanced one.
Ah, okay. I
So-
didn't know that. So we don't have to share groups and,
No, we
and
cannot
put them in
do
groups?
rooms. You mean you want rooms for each, right?
Room,
No,
yeah.
no, we cannot do that.
Began taking notes and how comfortable you are now. Let's just share your experience for now. Who would like to be the first one? Who would like to share? How was it in the beginning? What have you done? What is working for you about note taking? Who would like to be the first one to share
I'd
with
like
us?
to start. I like to
Okay.
start here.
Awesome.
Yeah, hi everyone. So at the beginning, I was thinking that note taking is writing basically everything I hear. So I end up being, it's like, it's impossible to do this. After that, I started to use some shapes, pictures, symbols, all those combinations, anything that cross for not, or like any symbol that it comes to my mind, it's kind of easier. I don't use note taking for everything, but the things that it needs for me, lots of information like medication times, especially like post-op or those appointments. So at the beginning it was.
Are you there?
Yeah.
And what was your name? I'm sorry.
My name is Kifah.
Kita. Thank you so much. So
You're very welcome.
with practice, you got better then.
Yeah,
I think Yasmin wanted to be next.
Jasmine, go ahead, Jasmine, please.
So for me, I was not trained to use symbols. Where I was trained to be an interpreter, we were told just to take notes and not take notes of everything. And only recently I've been introduced to the whole symbol using thing, and I think it complicates the situation because I think it creates a third language that I have to think of. So instead of knowing the word for doctor in Arabic and in English, I now have to come up with a third language that has a symbol. Although I could have taken notes by writing DOC. For example, my notes are all like 3 letters, 2 letters, 3 letters, 2 letters, like Dr. DR, Muhammad MO, and patient PT. And it just goes like this. It doesn't have the complicated drawings and symbols. I don't know, it works for me.
Well, abbreviations, that's a system that you have. So you use a lot of abbreviations. That's great. That's your system. Remember, guys, we can learn and we can see what others are doing, And maybe some of the symbols, you know, I have seen some practices and in some classes, and I'm like, oh, that symbol makes sense. So next time I'm going to use it, you know. But we have to develop our own system. And that's the beauty of this. And yet you are right, Jasmine. It's like developing a third language within the note-taking. But it's possible, but like you were saying, you know, changing, now you have developed this abbreviation system, and you can add more things and make it bigger, and it's unique because it's your system. That's wonderful. Thank you for sharing. Who would like to share?
I would like to add one more thing that we as Arabic interpreters need to think about, because all the literature that talks about note-taking is about languages that work from left to right, from English to Spanish, English to French, German, with all these languages. I personally do not know anything about note-taking in Japanese or Chinese. However, when you think about how you note-take from English into Arabic, and then when you listen to the patient and the patient is speaking in Arabic, and you decide to note-take again in English, because some of those symbols and abbreviations, they are in English, they are clearly in English. The D for development with a circle around it or something, this is only in English. In Arabic, there is no D altogether. So this is something, and I'm really addressing here my colleagues, and I want to hear from you. And we have to think what works correctly with Arabic. Do I continue to do the note-taking? And even when you say, have the left margin and work vertically, what about Arabic? Arabic needs a right-hand margin. It doesn't work. So this is something that, and this goes back to the lack of available training and material that we can use in Arabic. And we as interpreters, we have to come together.
So have you tried with the margin on the left coming to this side? And doing the vertical line, it will divide both. Have you tried anything like that to guide you a little better?
It works in English, but then as soon as you shift, because you have one speaker, for example, the attorney, and then the witness will speak in Arabic. So the left-hand margin doesn't work anymore, because it will be the end of my sentence, because Arabic is from right to left and not from left to right.
So what are you doing then? Using the margins and everything?
I personally, again, come from a little different school. I take notes in the target language. So when the speaker is speaking in English, I take notes in Arabic. And when the witness is speaking in Arabic, I take notes in English. And I know many people think that is wrong, you are overburdening your head, but it actually works. So I will not take more of your time. I don't want to monopolize the time. I want to hear from everybody else. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Anybody else?
One want to speak? Can you raise your hand so I can see you?
Yeah, I would like to speak.
Okay, I think, okay, Jinan and then Maha. Okay.
Thank you. Yasmin, the same thing that you're doing, it works for me too. That's what I do too. I did hear that before as well, that we overexhaust our brains if we just, interpret things right away, but for some reason that's what it works for me too. Now, as far as note-taking, I remember when I started my career, my note-taking was very messy. I used to write everything, but then I would end up getting all the way confused. So now I rely more in my short-term memory, and I take notes for things like I already know, like when there's a list. I take notes when there's numbers, when there's names, and things like that.
Mm-hmm. Okay. All right. That's great to know that it's different in every language. I think it's something that we as trainers, we need to talk a little bit more.
Okay, Maha, go ahead.
Yeah.
Yes, for me, actually, the margin being on the left, I don't see it as a problem, because I write symbols, and symbols can go. You can interpret the symbol either in Arabic or in English. For example, if I write a semicolon for speak, I can interpret speak or يتحدث. So I don't find it a problem. The margin doesn't have to be on the right for Arabic and on the left for English. I don't find it confusing, and I do take notes in the source language, not in the target language. And I need a lot of practice because I'm not used to consecutive. I do simultaneously most of the time. So nowadays, during this lockdown, yes, I try to take more courses on consecutive, and there are 2 books that are very helpful. I would like to share them with you if you want. This
yes,
one,
please. Yeah.
yeah, I can write the name on the chat as well,
yeah,
and also the note taking for the Rinka Mungino.
Yes, she's very good.
Yeah, both of them are very helpful, and plus lots of practices. And during the medical appointments, I don't find it really necessary to take notes because the patient or the doctors are speaking in short sentences. So I rely on my short-term memory, and I just take notes of maybe the date or a number or something that I really don't want to miss.
Well, that used to be my practice on site. Little on site note taking, but now that everything is through computer and WebEx and everything, I've been using a lot of note taking because they go on and on and on. They don't see us.
You cannot stop them.
Yeah, you can stop them, and like we do with the body language.
Yeah,
right?
But when I look at the UN interpreters, for example, they can do consecutive for a speech of about 10 to 12 minutes. For me, this is impossible. I cannot do this right now, maybe in the future. But that's why I wanted to practice more.
Thank you so much. So there is not
who else?
I have a question to all of you. I mean, to Ingrid and to Maha. Since you're using symbols, so how does it work? Do you have to do you have a list that you create, of symbols that create, and then you memorize, or how do you know these symbols?
Like Jasmine, she has developed her own system, and Maha has developed her own system, and so we develop our own abbreviations and symbols, and then we have to stick to the meaning, and we have to practice, because it wouldn't be good if you're practicing while you are working, because you can like, oh, what is that symbol? What is the meaning of that? Oh, I don't, and then you lose track of whatever else is happening or they are saying. So that's why it's so good to practice, 20 minutes a day. That's all that we require, and start creating your own symbols. And today, we're gonna see some of them that I'm gonna share some of the ones that I use. And I use abbreviations and symbols and stuff like that, But practice is something that is important.
So for Maha, for example, for Maha, for example, you said it doesn't matter for you Arabic or English, the side of the, the note taking. Is it because you're using English letters, or like what do you use?
No, I use symbols. So the symbols, for example, two, the word two, I write it as an arrow. So for me, I can, if I'm translating from English to Arabic, I will say ila. If I'm translating from Arabic to English, I will say two. I know the arrow means two. So for me,
I see
it's
what
the
you
same.
mean.
It's a drawing, or it's a symbol. So it doesn't matter in which
you're using the keyboards, whatever you have, like whatever you know, and then
no, I use either like handwritten notes, or I have my tablet. I can use it also by the stylus. You can write on the tablet.
Thank you.
Right.
No, not the keyboard. No, not the keyboard, because
not
you need to draw.
Yeah, you need to draw. You have to your pen. Yeah, but I love those new iPads that you can just write down things and you can delete them. You are complying with HIPAA and with all the regulations that we have to keep confidentiality. And
okay, do you mind if I tell them about my experience?
Yes, please.
Yeah, since I took a lot of classes with Virginia Valencia, I found out that it's easier to take notes in English because we were trained with her using all those methods from her book. And we had a lot of notes we can memorize, or symbols we can memorize in English. But in Arabic, like Yasmin said, I had some difficulties with some Arabic words that I was not able to create symbols for. So what I did, and also shifting from right to left was another issue. And then like your brain, if you're not trained, your brain is confused. Should I take this note in Arabic or should I take it in English?
Okay.
That means, you know, so yeah, so I had to train myself, like for Arabic note taking, to create different type of symbols with different type of abbreviation for Arabic words. And there was always common symbols for both languages. Like let's say an I or C, you can always draw an I, and for a mouse or eat, or those are common symbols. But when it comes to verbs, this is where we had to create different stuff.
Yes, thank you so much. You know what? This is so important because we can see that it's not a right or wrong system. The importance here is that you are creating your system through practice. And you don't have to stick like, oh, I'm just gonna take it in English, or I'm just gonna take it in Spanish for me, or Arabic for you guys. You can mix them. The most important thing is that you, the interpreter, knows what is the meaning of the abbreviation or the symbol. So that's why it's gonna help the system to keep all the information that you're receiving in an organized way. So it is important that you create your own through practice, okay? Remember, note-taking is just to help our short-term memory. If we are working short-term memory all the time and we don't take notes, you're gonna be exhausted. It doesn't matter how many years experience you have, it has been proven that after 30 minutes, our brain is fried. So we have to make sure, you know, what else, what other tools I can use to last a little longer? Because sometimes when we have the positions, they are for an hour, 2 hours, right? And if you are not used to ask for a break, some people, they go on and on and on. And I don't know how they do it because I can't. I have to have a break every 45 minutes. And the lawyers that I work with, they know every 45 minutes, I put my little sign that I have created and it says break because I need it, all right? So the other thing is we're not gonna write everything unless you are a superhuman. You may wanna do that, but it's not recommended because you're gonna get very, very tired. And we don't use shorthand. How many of you knows a shorthand? We don't use
I don't think any of us is old enough for the shorthand. We didn't take it in our schools, and we definitely didn't study it here.
Yeah, right. I had to learn that in my country.
I saw a very nice interpreter like at court that used shorthand, and she's so good at it. But yeah,
great.
It needed different schooling though.
Maybe that was the system that she created for herself, you know?
No. She told me she took classes in shorthand.
Oh, okay. Okay. And note-taking is just going to be a supplement to help our memory. Because when we work in short-term memory, we are putting a lot of energy in the analysis and the comprehension and then the rendition. So the majority of us, I'm sure that we already use note-taking for names, right? Like when you go to a deposition or a medical setting, you already have the name of the patient and you know how's the spelling and everything, because sometimes they ask say your name, so we have it right there. Or when you are in a trial, they don't know how to pronounce the names, right? But we have the names and we are like, oh, this is the way that you pronounce it, right? Or numbers, you know. So a lot of people, they recommend that you take notes in the source language. But listen, create your system. If it works for you, source language, target language, whatever, you are going to create your system and you have to practice, and that's good. Others, they recommend to divide the page in half. Well, if that doesn't work for you, let's see if another system will work, or let's practice one day dividing the page and see how that works and how you can fit what already you have or are creating, and see how you can fit that into that practice to help you to develop your system. And I really have been doing some practices about taking the notes vertically and horizontally. So I'm gonna show you, I think I have some here. So I was doing this just to practice and see how I felt. I don't know if you can see. Those are horizontal notes, right? And I was a little tired at the end. I was a little tired and my eyes.
Are you showing the notes? Are you showing them on the screen?
Oh, I'm showing.
Okay, you can maximize the view if you like.
Just to see that is horizontal. And I did my analysis after I was done with this assignment. My eyes got a little tired because I had to go all over the place. And then I decided, okay, so what is the difference then when I take notes vertically? And I did another exercise with this one. And I put some notes here and I felt much better when I was doing my line division and taking notes in a vertical way. But that's me. So what we need is to practice and to find out what is gonna work for you, because it's your system, the importance is your system. You take tips here and there, and then you put a lot of things in practice, and some things you will listen to them and you will say, no, that doesn't work for me. But how are you going to know it works or not for you? If you practice a little bit, if you have a little taste of it, right? I always tell when my kids were little, I was offering them some food from other countries, and they are like, no, I don't like that. And I always ask them, how do you know that you don't like that? Have you tried that before? And they were like, no. I said, try it. And after they tried 1 or 2 bites, they were like, oh, I love it. You know, what is this, Mom? You know, that it has happened that to you?
Yeah, sure.
Right? All right. So we all agree with that, or the majority, I would say. So your notes, they have to be simple and concise. You practice in your own symbols, and I can give you some ideas of some of my symbols and some of the Virginia symbols and other professors, other teachers, that are trainers that are there. You know, they give us ideas. You take it or leave it. It's working for you, or maybe it won't work for you, but at least you try and you created your system. That's the importance. Okay, so a little bit more practice then. We were going to do the activity in group, but we won't be able to. So
I can put, if you want, I can put my practice, or you can put your YouTube, whatever.
Yeah, let's do this one and then we do yours. Is that okay?
Okay, yeah, sure.
Okay, we're gonna go from easy practice to a more complicated practice. All right. So have your pen and paper ready. Can you play this video, or do you want me? I don't know if I'm gonna be able. Let's try. I think I have to go to a new share. Can you play it for me? Oh, I found it.
Are you all right? Well, I never was so glad to hear anybody speak English in my life, even you. What happened? I don't know. Nobody speaks English. They're all foreigners.
The sergeant only speaks French. See, and now this other cop here, he speaks French and German. And this fellow, he speaks German and Spanish. Oh. So he's going to ask the questions and we'll translate them to you.
Oh, good.
I can't see the screen. Can you guys see the YouTube? Okay, can you please share the YouTube again? For some reason, it disappeared, Ingrid.
Where you get the money?
He's not here.
I got it from a man on the street, but I didn't know it was counterfeit.
Ingrid, are you there?
I am here.
Okay. You need to share again, please, the screen, your screen.
Yes,
now it's better.
Take notes, guys. I want to see you taking notes.
Ja, si elle prend l'argent, elle peut s'en aller. Wenn sie ihre Restaurantrechnung bezahlt, kann sie gehen. Bueno, si ella le paga de vuelta al restaurante, ella se puede ir. Good. If you pay the restaurant bill, you can go.
Okay, let's go back to the PowerPoint. Let's see if I can find it here. Okay, so who was taking notes?
The sound wasn't that
It
clear.
wasn't easy,
No.
but I want to see if you were taking some notes.
And also they were using more than one language, which is not ours.
But they were saying the same thing.
I see Maha was sharing her notes.
Yeah.
Who else?
Maybe the first two sentences?
Yeah, let's read your notes. I would like, if you took some notes,
Yeah.
let's do them. All right.
Okay, so here, the first one is I'm happy. It's a smiley face. So it's happy. And here, like the semicolon, it's for speak. I'm happy to see somebody speaks English, EN. And then no one.
Okay.
So the face and then cross it for no one. And this is the mouth, the speaks, and English.
Okay.
EN.
Awesome. Good. So we have a couple of symbols there, right? We have the smiley face. And what else did you use?
The face with the cross for no one.
For no one.
And then the symbol of a mouth for like somebody speaking. And I used EN for English.
English, right. Okay. So who got all the languages that they were speaking?
None of us.
French. They were speaking French.
French, German.
German and Spanish.
Right. So with all those languages, you know, I would just go with abbreviations. SP for Spanish, EN like you did for English, German, probably just a G and stuff like that. So when you're listening to those short sentences, they look so simple. But what I would like you to practice when you have free time is we can send you that video and go back and try to come up with the symbols or abbreviations to listen to the whole thing and then be able to transfer everything into Arabic or from Arabic into English. It will take about 20 minutes. That will be one practice for one day. So do that. And maybe the next time that we are going to meet, I would like you to tell me, were you adding more symbols? Were you able to think about some other symbols that you may never had used? Or were you mixing them, Arabic, English, or any others, you know? So that's the practice that we have to put our brain to think, to go beyond of what we already know. So who would like to do that? Anybody would like to do that for next meeting?
Sure. Yeah, sure.
All right. So we're going to put that in the chat box so you can practice that. All right. So let's move on. Any comments? It was hard because there were different languages? Or what was difficult about this note-taking exercise?
No, it was noisy. Like so many people are speaking at the same time and there is audience as well, clapping and laughing. So it was a bit noisy.
Exactly. I love that observation. So when we are going to listen, we cannot have all of that going on, right? So when you go into a medical setting, you go into the room, well, before COVID, now we don't go into the rooms anymore for now. But before, you know, you have the TV going on, right? And what do? You ask them, please, could you please turn off the TV, or can we turn off the TV? Because all of those are distractions that are not going to let us listen actively to interpret in a consecutive mode. Do you agree with me?
Yeah.
Yeah.
what other settings do you have where you have been forced practically to tell people, stop that noise, stop that chattering, stop something because I have to do my job? Has anybody has any experience about that?
Yeah, home visit for me.
Okay, the kids.
Yeah, sometimes the court itself is very noisy.
Plus the echo sound and everything. Like the sound is not that clear in the court.
Right. Or I had the experience where they call my case and the public defender, the prosecutors, everybody's just talking, you know, and I'm like, I cannot listen. Please let me take care of my case and then you can talk, right? Because everybody's talking at the same time.
And the hardest is if one of them speak your language and try to interfere and play the smart guy.
That is right.
Of course, if there are kids in the room, if it's a pediatrician's visit and a kid is crying or in pain, you cannot even stop him. Even if you ask him to stop, he's not going to stop.
Yeah.
So
great. Thank you for sharing. So when we are in those situations, believe me and try it. Have your notepad with you and your pen. And all this stressful thing that is going on here around us, and if you really pay attention to the pen and paper and you put all the energy into those two things, for me, that really helps me to calm down and to pay attention to what they are saying. It has worked for me. Maybe something else has worked for you. What do you do when you are in those situations?
It depends which situation. The noise, I think I'll ask the doctor only to keep the patients without, you know, the rest of the family, and ask them to get out so we can speak. But that will be ahead of time, not in the middle of the conversation.
Okay, but good. You do an introduction then as a professional. That's good. But in the listening also, we have other factors or elements that affect our listening in consecutive. Sometimes are those details. Sometimes is that unfamiliar word or the unfamiliar idea, because cultures are different, you know, from Arabic to English, English to Spanish, whatever. We have different ideas, right? Like for us, we have evil eye. And if I tell a doctor, you know, evil eye, maybe they understand. Maybe some of them, they are not familiar with that concept. Do you have anything that are totally unfamiliar to the American system?
Yes, sometimes when they ask the wife, have you ever had sex before marriage? The wife is really getting, like, she's considering it as an insult, especially in front of her husband, because in the Arab or Muslim community, the woman should not have sex before marriage. So this question is completely for them. It's out of context. Oh, why are you asking me this question?
Yeah, great. Thank you for sharing. So that distracts us sometimes because while you are trying to interpret that, you're thinking, how do I this?
How she's gonna react? Exactly. What is the husband gonna hit me or something?
Right. You see, so all of those things affect what we are doing.
The voice is cutting.
Also, emotional reactions, you know. Sorry, I couldn't hear. So the emotional reactions, the vulgar language in Arabic is very offensive. If somebody says something, is swearing to the doctor, or the doctor is swearing to the patient, it has happened.
Yeah, it never happened with me, no.
Yeah, swearing is really bad, especially if you want to, like a doctor would be swearing at a woman, that would be, or using any type of foul language.
Yeah, so all of that stops us from rendering the message, you know? Okay, so let's move into the side effects, because I think it's important when we are taking notes. That really helps to for us to calm down and to focus on what we have to do. So when we are listening to the messages, sometimes they have negative and positive side effects. I call them side effects. And positive side effect is We have to say a little bit more, trying to help, even though we know that we cannot add things, but it happens, right? Because the culture is different. And, we don't have to add information, but we tend to do that. Or a negative one, it could be that it's going to retain our retention. Why? How? Well, we are in an appointment where they are doing something about an abortion, not a natural abortion, but an abortion. And you may be against that. You have that negative feeling. And so you may start thinking, oh, what should I do? What should I tell her? Should I interpret everything? No, remember, Ingrid, you have to interpret everything. So that little chatter that goes in my mind affects what I'm going to interpret. And so when I take notes, that really helps me in those situations to say, this is not about what you believe, this is not about you, it's about what's going on here, and interpret accurately and completely. All right, that has been my experience. What about you? You have any similar experience or something different?
Yes, in the court once I interpreted for a transgender man, like a man who became a woman. And of course, for us, it's against our religion and against our tradition and against everything. But for me, I have to be completely neutral and non-biased. And I interpreted to him like completely. And actually, he thanked me after the court hearing, and he was telling me like you interpreted everything like honestly and correctly, and I really thank you for that.
And what did you use? What tip did you use to focus in what you were interpreting and not thinking about?
Yeah, because I am doing my job and I have to be professional, and I have this guy has to get his right. He's a human after all.
All right. Okay. Thank you for sharing. For me, the notepad and the pen has been very helpful in different situations because I put all my stress, and it's like a reminder for me. Just do what you have to do, and that's it. So I don't know, may don't work for some people, but it has worked for me. Okay, so let's talk about more tips, and then we're gonna have a little practice again. So your system has to be flexible, your symbols, your letters. Remember that you have units of meaning. We have what? We have nouns, we have verbs, and we have the direct object, right? Or the indirect object. So we have to know, what do I write down? Do we write everything down? Or do we have some units of meaning that we need to write down? What do you do?
The three main units are like the verb, the subject, the object.
Anybody else? What about you, Jasmine or Sarah? What do you do?
Connective words, like what is the relation between this sentence and the sentence before it? Is it the result? Is it the reason? Is it
because? So I love that. Thank you for sharing. Anybody else?
Yeah, I think repetition and stuff like yeah, the equaline, the yeah, all those lines, the vertical line, like you said, verticality and shifting, like Virginia uses.
Yes, that's what is called shifting, right? So when we are going to write the symbols or abbreviations, we do a system, we use a system that is called shifting. Well, let's see if we can develop some symbols. All of you are familiar with these symbols? Do they mean anything for you?
Math.
Math. Yeah, plus, right? Addition. What else can you say about the plus?
Yeah, in addition to another point.
Yeah, adding, yeah.
Adding, right?
Subtracting for minus, yeah.
Positive.
Positive, yeah. Negative, what yeah.
So what about the minus sign?
Taking away.
Without.
Without. Negative, right?
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm. What about the ex?
Ex-husband.
How many times? Like how many times a day or something?
I would say anonymous. Anonymous, like there's a movie called Lady X or Woman. Yeah, someone who is unknown.
Okay, all right. Well, I use the X for a lot of things. Like you see here on the left and the right hand side. Okay, so RX are prescriptions. PX, patient. Meds, I write meds sometimes, or if it's too fast, I write MX, so that's medications. SX are symptoms. So I use X a lot in the medical setting.
Mm-hmm.
When I'm in court, you know, I use the X for like for how long or what are the implications, or when they talk about probation and stuff like that, or how many times I use the X. Oh my gosh, we used all of those abbreviations in the texting now, right? Who's familiar with OMG?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh my
LOL.
God.
Oh
Yeah.
my God.
Laugh out loud. Yeah. Before.
And then before is one of those joins units that we need. What about PRN?
Which one? PRN?
PRN, the last one.
Is it patient something?
Actually, that one is only if needed, or if it's needed, or per prescription, or only the way that I'm telling you to do it. PRN. Right?
What's it's abbreviation for what?
Well, supervision. I use the X for a lot of PXX. That means probation for this time, for how many months or whatever the judge is saying. Okay. So what about this one? Can you see what is the question mark and then the triangle? Okay. Question mark. Every time that somebody's asking something, you know, the English speaker, the Spanish speaker, I can do E or S asking this. And the triangle for me means change. Of course, I don't fill out the triangle because that will take forever. I just have the triangle shape. That means change. Change or something that it has to go from little to more, you know, when they are saying you're gonna take this medication once a day for 1 week, twice a day, the following week or so, I use that symbol to have the meaning that it's gonna go adding more and more, or I use the triangle backwards if it's gonna diminish, right? The arrow, do you use the arrow?
Yeah, of course, that's important.
Yeah.
Yeah, how do you use the arrow?
Like to?
Direction east and west and north and south.
Before and after.
Before and after.
Yeah, going up and going down, like extra or less.
Yeah, right.
More.
Right. Yeah, only one way. What else can we say? Anybody else? What about those ones with that circle arrows?
The what?
The circular arrows that have a circle?
It's like repetition happening again.
Improving and declining.
Okay. Okay. Going around, going to that way, going the opposite.
U-turn.
U-turn. Yeah. You see, we have a lot of symbols that we already use, and we can adopt them to take our notes. But you have to give the meaning that you want to the symbol, and they can mean a lot of things. But the importance of using that symbol is that you get familiar with it and you put the meaning to the symbol. So when you use it, you know what you're reading in your notes. Questions? Okay, so how are we going to build your glossary? And I know that you have a lot of experience. Many of you have taken a lot of classes, but let's build a little bit our glossary of symbols. When we add the meaning to the symbol, you are making your mind and your muscle memory work. And the only way that you can do that is by practice. So let's practice a little bit. You ready?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So don't look at the screen. Take notes right now. I'm going to read this for you. Or Tamar, would you like to read the practice number 3?
Who are you talking to? Because your voice broke down.
Oh, Kamar, would you like to read practice number 3?
Yes, sure. I was doing laundry. When I feel a severe pain, I had some oranges and apples at noon. I never had this before. I think I'm getting COVID-19. All the people are getting sick.
All right. So now I want somebody to share the notes.
Yeah, we are still doing them.
Okay, good. Take your time. So now I'm going to show you how I did it. And it's not a perfect system, it's my system, all right? Your system is gonna be your system, and everybody's gonna have their own. So for me it's important who's speaking. So I have a very in here, the margin, and then the person that I was speaking, right? Sometimes I don't write it, but in this case, I wanted to make sure that it's there. ING means doing, and then laundry, just put a basket. And then for when I felt a severe pain, again, F for feel, severe, I use the asterisk. That means a lot of pain. And then pain, because I couldn't come up with something for pain. Maybe you can come up with some symbol for pain.
What about the arrow on the left? What's that for?
When.
Okay.
When. Mm-hmm. And then again, I have an I, and it says I have some oranges and apples. So I put an O and plus apple, an A. At noon, and then it says, I'm thinking I'm getting COVID-19, thinking, oh no, I never had this before. So I again, never, and then the before. Right? Okay, so let's share. Who wants to share? Okay, can you see it, guys? Can you put it closer so we can see it, please? All right, can you see it, guys? Okay.
A little dark, but.
A little dark. But you did a good job. Look, symbols, very good. Thank you. Anybody else? Another person that took some notes, some symbols. Do you have any that you would like to share?
I think mine are similar. Oh, sorry.
I would like to share mine. Can I share mine?
Okay.
One second. Let me open. Can you see it?
Yeah, we can see yours. Put a little bit down. Can you see it, guys?
We can pin her video so we can see the screen, the full screen.
Yeah, I like your washing machine.
Can you get?
So when I had like feeling really pain, I put like a fire.
Come on, put it closer because the light that's coming from the window is covering paper. So make sure you have it next to the camera.
Right. Can
to
you
the
move
right a little bit? No, left then.
Then the left. Yes.
Okay, more.
More. More to the left.
Back to the back. Okay, now it's a little bit better.
Yeah.
Can you move a little to the left a little more, please? Yes.
Okay, great.
Right here.
Okay, can you read their notes?
Yeah.
Yeah. So you put pain. What did you put for pain?
Before pain, when I feel very pain, I put fire. It's like
yep. I'm gonna remember that one. Good. All right. Awesome. You see, little by little, we have to start creating more and more symbols, and that's practice, guys. All right. Let me share some other of my symbols. Let's see if you can guess. Let's start from left. What do you think is that little round thing that I tried to do over there? I'm not a good drawer.
I cannot see the screen.
A guy and a lady. You are talking about the right with the asterisk, or before that on the other side?
We cannot. I cannot see the screen.
The screen. Everybody, just push. Remove the pictures. We can see the screen.
You don't
see the screen. Yeah, we're fine. I think you have to. Yeah. To go with her computer, you have to push something.
Okay, hold on. Let me go back.
No, you're okay, Ingrid. I can see the screen.
Now I can see.
Yeah.
All right. Okay.
Yeah, it's.
So let's guess. What are those symbols?
Man and woman.
Man and woman on the bottom. And the top one?
On the
can
left.
It be an officer and a guy? The one with the hat?
The first on the left means people. This one means people. And all the people in the world, or everybody that was involved, or that person, you know, when they said that guy. So I put this to make an emphasis there. All of these probably, you know, up and down, we already talk about that. What about this one? For me, this one is the world.
The world, yeah.
Country.
Earth, or maybe Mars.
Mars, planets, yeah. This one is the same, but it changes with this little one. So for me, that one means the continent is important to protect that, whatever they're talking about, okay? So this one can be a country, a region, a specific group, somebody that is leaving the group, somebody that is coming to the group. Oops, sorry. And immigrant, you know, refugee. It means a lot. It depends what is the context. Before and after. This one, that means this week is important for you to do this. You're gonna start doing this week. And this one is important, severe, remember. It's an emphasis sometimes, you know, when the speaker is saying something really seriously, you know, that's what I use. Always, often, happy, sad, I am worried, you know, I'm worried about protecting something. Somebody said something, you know, that like my husband was saying, so I will put this one. And this one I also use for speak or talk or say, all right? Well, we have more, but I think it's already an hour and a half. And we can continue. I have more practices for you, but I think we should stop right now. Any comments?
Yeah, we really appreciate this lecture, Ingrid, and thank you very much for your time and efforts. And I'm gonna put now a recording that we did, me and Ghada. Actually, Ghada recorded her voice to show you practice of interpreting about diabetes. So if you like Ingrid to be around, it's up to you. You are thank you, and maybe we'll do something next week.
Let's do your practice. I'll stay around. Let's do your practice.
Okay, great. I'm happy.
I have more practices, but I want to give you the opportunity so we can practice that one. Let's do it.
Okay, can you see my screen?
No, let me stop sharing so we can see yours. Now you go. Yeah, I think we can see yours. Yes.
You can? Okay, you need to also listen to it. So let's let me make it as high as I can. What we did, we decided to get one of the recording that was from a hospital and interpret it. So listen if you can. Can you hear it? No? Nope.
Very, very.
No, I can't hear it.
Okay, let me just try to higher the volume.
Diagnosed with diabetes.
What about now?
Yeah, it's better.
Okay, so let's start. And if you want, I will give you like I will pause it every time you can interpret in your head and then listen to Ghada.
What is diabetes? If someone is diagnosed with diabetes, it means there is too much sugar in their blood.
Are you working?
إذا تم تشخيص أحدهم على أنه مريض بالسكري فهذا يعني أن دمه يحتوي على سكر زائد عن الحاجة.
This is also known as high blood sugar.
ويعرف ذلك أيضا بارتفاع سكر الدم.
To understand exactly what this means, let's take a look at what happens when we eat food.
So here, note taking will help because it's a longer sentence.
ولكي نفهم ما الذي يعنيه ذلك تماما فدعونا ننظر إلى ما نأكله أو ماذا يحدث عندما نأكل الطعام.
Eat food to get energy for our body.
نحن نأكل الطعام لنحصل على الطاقة لأجسادنا.
Most energy comes from carbohydrates in our food.
ومعظم الطاقة نحصل عليها من النشويات في طعامنا.
When we eat carbohydrates, our body's digestive system breaks it down into sugar.
عندما نأكل النشويات فإن الجهاز الهضمي في جسدنا يكسرها إلى سكر.
Then the sugar moves from our digestive system into our blood.
ثم يتحرك السكر
Zainab, the sound comes and goes.
Oh, really? Is everybody muted?
Yeah, I was muted. I just
let me rewind a little bit.
Our blood.
ثم يتحرك السكر من جهازنا الهضمي وصولا إلى دمنا.
Is that better? Okay, I see you. I see you. Yemi, I see you. Okay.
When the sugar is in the blood, we call it blood sugar. Another name for blood sugar is glucose.
وعندما يصل السكر إلى الدم حينها يسمى بسكر الدم ويطلق عليه اسم آخر وهو الجلوكوز.
Now, the reason sugar is in the blood is because it needs to get to all of the cells of the body so it can be used as energy.
والآن سبب وجود السكر في الدم هو أن الخلايا تحتاج إلى استخدامه لكي يحصل الجسم على الطاقة.
Each cell has a special pathway that lets sugar into the cell.
كل خلية لها مسار مخصص لكي يدخل السكر إلى الخلية عن طريقه.
You can think of it like a door. But the door is always locked, and the cell only lets sugar in if there is a key to unlock the door.
يمكنك التفكير في هذا المسار على أنه مثل الباب، ولكن هذا الباب مغلق دائما ولن يتم فتحه إلا إذا كان مفتاحه موجود في الدم.
This key is called insulin.
هذا المفتاح يسمى بالإنسولين.
Insulin is a special hormone that moves through our blood to unlock cells so sugar can get inside the cells.
الإنسولين عبارة عن هرمون موجود في أجسامنا، وهو الذي يمثل المفتاح الذي يفتح الخلية لكي يسمح للسكر بالدخول من الدم إلى الخلية.
Turn sugar into the energy that they need.
وبمجرد ما يدخل السكر إلى الخلية تقوم خلايا أجسامنا بتحويل هذا السكر إلى الطاقة التي نحتاجها.
Okay. Yes, Ingrid?
I'm going to interrupt. I gotta go, guys. But even if they are short sentences, I would like everybody to practice and see how you come up with the abbreviation or the symbol for what you're hearing. Little by little, you can increase and listen to more and more and be more familiar with the symbols, okay? So I don't know if you want to have another class, we can have another class and just 2 more practices.
Yeah, sure. I'm going to arrange something with you for probably next week or after 2 weeks. And thank you all. I hope كلياتكم استفدتوا. I hope all of you had fun and enjoyed what we had today.
شكرا جزيلا.
Yeah, thank you very much, Ingrid.
Yeah.